So with that elaborate recap, not elaborate, brief slash chunk of a recap, we now enter into a continuation of this section. So Bhagavan Ram has just explained to Narad Muni how he doesn't fulfill everybody's wishes. He gives them what is good for them. And really speaking, that is our biggest wish, to get what is good for us. We may or may not know it, but that is deep down our greatest wish, right? So with that, Naraji is moved, and now he's going to ask Bhagavan yet another question. So where we ended off was, I believe, around 43 or 44 of Aranyakanda. Hold on, I'll tell you the number. This will be right after Doha number 44 in Aranyakanda is where we are going to pick up today. Suni Raghupati ke bachana suhai. I don't know if someone can tell the page of the PDF in the chat, but that is where we will be starting today. Everyone got it? Page 726 of the PDF. Try and chant along. I'll chant slowly. And Ramayana is not hard to chant. If you look at all the words and follow the beat, it's actually very, very easy to chant. Okay, ready? Suni Raghupati ke bachana suhai, muni tana pulaka nayana bhari aai, kahahu kavana prabhu ke asiriti, sevaka paramamata arupriti, jena bhaja hi asa prabhu brahma tyagi, jnana ranka naramanda abhagi, puni sadara pole muni narad, sunahu Rama be jnana besarat, Santana ke lachana raghubira, kahahu nata bhavavan janabhira. Sunu muni santana ke gunna kahahu, jinate mein unake basarahu, shata bekara jita anagha kama, achala akinchana suchi sukhadhama, amita bodha anihamita bhogi, satya sara kabhi ko veda jogi, savadhana manada madahina, dhira dharma gati parama prabina, sorry, when I sing it by myself it sounds fine, and as soon as it's in class the tune and the keys mix up. Gunagara samsara dukha rahita begata sandeha, taji mama charana saroja priya, tinha kahu deha nageha siya, varan Ramachandra ki jai, pavana sutta Hanumana ki jai, Umapati Mahadeva ki jai, bolo bhai sab santana ki jai. Okay, so now let us see. Suni Raghupati ke bachana suhai, muni tana pulaka nayana bhari aai. When Naraji heard these beautiful words of Bhagavan Sri Rama, his body got goosebumps and his eyes filled with tears. Which words? The words that we just recapped, that how Bhagavan protects his devotees and how he doesn't fulfill, or why he doesn't fulfill all of our wishes just because we ask. And so brimming with such emotion, Naraji is feeling like, oh my God, I can't believe I have such a wonderful Lord, like that. Okay. Then he says, Kahahu, Kahahu, Kavana Prabhu ke asa. Kahahu, Kavana Prabhu ke asiriti, Sevaka Prabhu mamata aru priti. He says, tell me, where are you going to find such a Lord like this, of such nature, of such conduct, who has so much affection, so much love for his sevaks? Now, I don't know, maybe he's saying it in his head. I don't know if he's saying it to Bhagavan actually, but his feeling is, where are you going to find such a Lord who really has indescribable love for his sevaks? Because you can hate Bhagavan, you can curse him like Naraji did, but he will always look out for our welfare over everything. And we often say, Bhagavan's love is like a mother's love. But actually, mother's love is like Bhagavan's love. It is the other way around. Bhagavan is the template, is the example, is the ideal. And our mother is a mirror of that Bhagavan, right? It sounds like, okay, yes, what's the big deal that Bhagavan loves his sevaks? But you just think, the boss of a big company, he loves his janitor or his bellboy? He doesn't even know their name. You think who Bhagavan is, and you think how much love he has for every single creature in this universe and all of his sevaks. So Naraji is talking about that, and he's reminding us about how wonderful this Bhagavan Ram is. And he says now, he laments, Jena bhajahi asa prabhu brahmatyagi jnana ranka nara manda abhagi. Those people who don't worship such a Lord by giving up delusion. What kind of delusion? Means the Lord doesn't care about me, or the Lord doesn't have the power to grant all my wishes, or the Lord doesn't know what will make me happy. I know what will make me happy. All those kinds of delusions that we have. He says, the person who doesn't give up that kind of delusion and worship this Bhagavan, they're jnana rank. They're poor of knowledge. They're paupers when it comes to knowledge. They're dull-witted, and they're so unfortunate. There's people like this or not? They think knowledge is greater and they don't have bhakti. Or they think, so much knowledge I've got and it's not doing anything. This knowledge is ineffective. They've just gained arrogance, not knowledge. True knowledge is supposed to melt our heart, and it's supposed to end in love, right? But Naraji says these people are dull-witted and unfortunate and so pitiable. Like, a person can say, I'm Satchitananda, but they don't feel it. They go around feeling sorrowful. They don't feel blissful. It's the exact same as somebody who has $1 billion inheritance, but they don't know the passcode. And they go around saying, I have $1 billion, I have $1 billion. But they have no idea what it means to actually be a billionaire and actually enjoy enjoy is subjective, but actually enjoy the wealth that comes with being a billionaire. So that is Naraji's lamentation. Then Puni. Now then, Sadara Bole Muni Narad. With great respect, now our Naraji spoke. Sunahu Rama, Bigyana Bisarada. Listen, O Rama, you who are omniscient. When you call somebody omniscient, you have some hidden agenda in there. The name that you use tells what you want. Means he's going to ask something really difficult now from Bhagavan. What is he going to ask? Santana ke lachhana raghubira kahahu nata bhava bhanjana bhira. O Rama, O Raghuvira, I want you to tell me the lakshanas, the qualities of saints. And he calls him here Bhava Bhanjana Bhira, the one who destroys the fear of samsara. Just in this Navada Bhakti, Bhagavan had said, Mote Santa Adhika Kari Lekha. A bhakta is one who considers saints even greater than me, than Bhagavan himself. And so he considers saints so great. The question is, well, what is so great about a saint? Because I mean, Bhagavan is Bhagavan. So, isn't that enough? So now see what Bhagavan has to say. So now Bhagavan, with so much love, is going to answer this question. He says, Sunu Muni, Santana ke guna kahahu. Listen, I am going to tell you now the qualities of a saint. What kind of qualities? He says, Jinha te मैं उन्ह के बस रहूं, because of which I remain under their control. You know, Nāradaji's hunch was right. Saints are very special. So it is a really special thing to hear their great qualities. And Bhagavan himself says, they make me under their control. You know, some children have their parents under their control. Whatever they say, the parent does. Well, Bhaktas have Bhagavan under their control. Huh? Bhagavan will even break his father's word to fulfill the word of his Bhakta. He was ready to do whatever Bharata said. Bharata was the greatest example of a Bhakta so far. He was ready to break his word. But on the other hand, a Bhakta will never make Bhagavan do that. A Bhakta will never make Bhagavan break his word. So at the same time that Bhagavan is under the control of his devotee, the devotee doesn't take advantage of that. Okay, now, and Bhagavan is going to list so many qualities of a saint. And it is actually like it deserves a yajna to study these qualities. We're going to see them in like double, triple, quadruple speed. But you could pause and reflect on each one for a whole day. That is how beautiful they are. And these qualities have come already, and they're going to keep coming again and again. In Ramayana, in Bhagavad Gita, in every single Shastra, these qualities will come again and again. And it is kind of like a reality check for us. If you think you're becoming a saint, think again. You pause. Does Bhagavan think you're a saint, or just you think you're a saint? Check yourself. This is the measure of a saint before you say, oh, I'm such a good person, I'm such a saint. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that actually this list is supposed to be our future biography. It is not our current biography. You know, if someone writes about us, these are not the qualities they will list, but we're all supposed to tend in this direction. The greatest accomplishment of a human being will be that if they die, all these qualities are listed in their eulogy. You know? Meaning, we have to tend in this direction. Or in our next life, when it is being determined where we go, we have these kinds of qualities that send us to a great destination. So it's very, very, very essential for us to develop. Now, right now we're reading this text called Ishvara Darshan in class. And it's a autobiography written by our Param Pujya Gurudev, Swami Tapovana. Swami Tapovanji Maharaj. And you know, every single one of these qualities that is listed by Bhagavan is actually magnified in Swami Tapovanji Maharaj. If you want to see a true saint, you read that book. If you want to see true sadhana, you read that book. You read it and you can't believe, you cannot believe someone like that existed. Let alone with our Param Puja Gurudev. It's unfathomable to believe someone could do that kind of tapas and live that kind of life and be such a real saint. You know, it would, now this is not just Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, this will be all the great saints, real great saints. You will have that same feeling when you read their biography, that these qualities are there in their life. So we read the biographies to see how it expresses in their life so we can bring it into ours. Okay, now let us see what are these great, great, great qualities. Shata Vikara Jita. The first one is he who has conquered the 6 vikaras, the 6 negative thoughts or perversions of the mind. What are those? Kama, desire; Krodha, anger; Lobha, greed; Mada, arrogance; Moha, delusion; and Matsarya or Matsara, jealousy. What? This is the first quality? I quit. Right at the first quality. I would have been past to quality number 2. Right? Shatavikara is what we Shatavikara is these six perversions of our mind. And it is with samskara, with refinement, that they get removed. Actually, we could spend our whole life thinking just about these 6. Now, if you give a little thought, you will see Ravana had all. Desire for Sitaji and for extreme wealth. Anger from a thwarted desire. You see his anger manifesting. Instantly it manifests, right? Greed. What he wanted could never end. Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, when he was a child and he was hearing about Ramayana and he's hearing the description of Ravana's wealth, as a child he's like, what? He could eat gold or what? Why does he want so much gold? What are you going to do with all that? His greed could never end. Then, Kama, Krodha, Mada. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada. Mada is arrogance. How he spoke to Marich, how he speaks to Hanumanji, it will come up, and all of that. So much arrogance is going to come up now from Ravana. Then, delusion. He had a delusion that he could get Sita without Rama. He could get Sitaji without Bhagavan Ram. That's madness. Total delusion. And jealousy. Well, it is only because of jealousy that Shurpanakha was able to instigate him before he went to go and kidnap Sitaji. Right? So he had all 6. He's the perfect poster boy of these 6 vikaras. And so every time one of these thoughts comes in our mind, we should call it what it is, a Ravana thought. It is the opposite of a saint's thought. And when we call it a Ravana thought, it might inspire us a little bit more to stop justifying it. You know, right now we justify our desires, we justify our anger, we justify our greed, we justify these thoughts. But when we stop justifying them, then only we'll be able to remove them. And a saint has conquered all of these. These qualities you'll see in Duryodhana also, magnified. And the way we identify them in our personality is through daily introspection. Every day, we're supposed to spend a few minutes before we sleep, playing out the day in our mind, and trying to just observing like a movie, a super duper fast forward movie. And as these things come up in our mind and we realize, oh, I was greedy there, I was confused and delusional there, I was jealous there. Just the identification of it makes our mind become more aware for the next time. So this is the Shata Vikara Jita. That's number 1. Number 2, Anagha. Anagha means free from Papa. Now, the terrible translation of Papa is sin. But sin does not mean Papa. Papa includes so much more than what the English word sin connotes. The definition of Papa in Sanskrit is Pati Rakshati iti Papa. That which protects what? That which protects our sorrow is Papa. Anything that we do that is guaranteed to protect our sorrow will be considered Papa. That means anytime we do something we should not be doing, and anytime we don't do what we should be doing, that is considered Papa. Every time we are selfish, every time we follow adharma, everything like that will be considered Papa. But the saint has conquered that. He's Anagha. One of the names that Bhagavan Krishna calls Arjuna is also Anagha in Bhagavad Gita. Right? Okay, next. Akama. Akama. Akama means free from desire. But Bhagavan, why are you being redundant? Saints have so many qualities. Kama was included in Shatvikar. No. When akama is mentioned here, there it was worldly desires. Here, the explanation given by our Mahatmas is spiritual desires. People have spiritual desires Not like I want to get Viveka Vairagya and all, not those kind of desires, but desires siddhis, to read minds and fly and walk on water and all kinds of things people want, levitate and you chant these those the things are there. No, you chant this mantra 100,000 times and you get this siddhi, and then you chant the mantra 1,000,000 times and you get that siddhi, and people work because of that. They chant the mantra, right? And so this, I mean, Swami Tapovanam was explaining that, but animals fly. What's the big deal in flying? You want to talk about getting these siddhis, but what's the big deal in them? It's not going to give you joy. It's not going to give you happiness. It's not going to give you the realization that you are Brahman, right? So, akama means a saint is not someone who's aspiring for siddhis, right? In fact, if they do develop siddhis by and by, they don't tell anybody about it, right? Because that is not the purpose of their sadhana. Our sadhana is not supposed to be for powers, but for moksha. And in fact, in Bhakti Marg, they don't even want moksha. But Bharatji had said, Dharamana artana kama ruchi, gati na chahau nirvan. I don't even want moksha. Janama janama gati Rāma pada. I want to be a bhakta of Bhagavan Rama in every life. This is the only boon that I ask. So that is akama. So please, the point is, we should not try to think in our mind that if I do this sadhana or if I chant this thing, I'm going to get this superpower. Our mind should not be focused on that. Okay. Achala. Achala means firm. Firm doesn't mean stubborn. Firm means firm in their devotion. Like when something happens in our life or something doesn't go in as planned, it is so easy for us to drop our faith in Bhagavan. I know so many people who stopped believing in Bhagavan because something tragic happened in their life. So many people in every family will be there. Bhagavan, they're great, great, great devotees of Bhagavan, and then something happens. Someone dies, someone gets sick, some engagement breaks, something happens. And you know what, Bhagavan Krishna, you're not getting new clothes for Janmashtami this year. I heard people say that. Angry with Bhagavan. I don't have faith in you anymore. You go. Wear your old clothes. Right? This bhakta is achala. Means the saint is achala. Whatever happens in their life, they never lose faith that what is happening is Bhagavan's will, is Bhagavan's love, like that. Akinchana. Akinchana means they want nothing. Not that they don't want to eat and sleep and all of that, but it doesn't matter what they get to eat, if they get food, where they have to sleep, in what condition they have to sleep in. And I mean, we are very, very good at doing the exact opposite. We're going to a place for a vacation, we're going to plan. We know already. Nowadays, you even ask ChatGPT, I'm staying at this place, these are my food preferences. Can you tell me which restaurants to go to in the neighborhood where I can walk or take a vehicle? Or you give the exact specifications and ChatGPT will tell you, go on this route, on this day you eat this food, on this day you order this food from this restaurant, and so much planning. And sleeping also. You know how many mattress choices exist? I mean, nowadays they even have mattresses which, I don't know if there's anything more advanced than this, but the last I heard is there's one which half of it will be one softness and half of it will be another softness. You can change the softness, the hardness of the mattress, the firmness of the mattress. And then there's some which, I saw a video where, the bed comes up and then your bed becomes your sofa. Or something like that. You don't need to move to watch TV. We think so much about all of these things, our sleep, our food, and all of these things, right? They don't. Not at all. Not at all. Swami Tapovanamji, so many times, he's in the middle of the Himalayas, barefoot, no warm clothes, nothing, freezing cold, sick, feverish. And he says, Bhagavan, let's see how you're going to take care of me today. Literally his words, over and over again. Let's see what your plan is today. And Magically, someone comes and brings food. Someone comes and says, come and stay in my hut. Magically. No, it wouldn't happen for us. You know, you go and you're like, okay, now let me see who's bringing me food. We're going to go to try to get food. Genuinely, you have to go like this. Anyways, that is a kinjana. Then suchi. Suchi means pure. Not just somebody who has showered, but somebody whose mind is pure. Meaning they don't have bad motives. They don't have disintegration, where they're telling one thing but feeling something else. You know, the genuineness of a person comes out in their words. Behind, maybe not in the words that they're saying, but right behind their words. It comes out in their eyes. It comes out in their vibes. It comes out. You can't hide really your intention. You can try, you can pretend, you can think you're doing a good job, but eventually it comes out. They're suchi, they're pure. The test for purity of mind is this. If suddenly now something happened and everybody could see your thoughts and hear your thoughts, would you be ashamed? Like every single thought that you had, they could see, they could hear. Would you want to like hide and not meet people? That's the test of whether your mind is suchi. Sukhadhama. Sukhadhama is they're the abode of joy. You want to be in their presence because our lives are so filled with sorrow, but we want joy. And when we find someone who's just bursting with joy, we just can't help but want to be around them in their presence. Gurudev used to say, don't come too close. I will drench you in my love. I will shower you with my love. Right? So a saint is an abode of joy. In fact, if you meet someone who calls themselves a saint, but they're sorrowful, please run away. Because saints are supposed to be abodes of joy. They're not supposed to give us more sorrow in life. We have enough. Amita Bodha. Unlimited knowledge they have. Amita Bodha. Literally, unlimited knowledge they have. You cannot point out the end of their knowledge. How come? Well, see, very simply, one way you could take it is, if a saint knows Bhagavan, a saint knows Bhagavan, full stop, right? Now, if he knows Bhagavan, and Bhagavan is limitless, how can his knowledge be limited? If he knows that which is limitless, right? So from that point of view, he has limitless knowledge. The Upanishads say over and over again, know that which, having known which, all else becomes known, right? Know that which is worthy of knowing. And it's no, if you see Gurudev and you read his commentaries and you listen to his lectures, you see there's nothing he didn't have knowledge about. Unlimited knowledge about every single thing in this universe, right? But it doesn't literally mean he knows everything. You're like, okay, I'm going to test if this is really a saint. I'm going to take a PhD paper and the findings from that, and I'm going to ask them what the results were, and if they don't know, it means they're not a saint. People actually kind of come up with all kind of crazy things, Explain to me how this AI app works. We're not talking about that kind of Amita Bodha. Huh? The other way to look at this is, when we spend time with saints, you'll notice that people ask the same question frequently. Means the same question gets asked over and over again by different people in waves. One person will come and ask the question, and then a day later another person will come and ask that same question. And you will notice that a different answer is given every time. That is because a saint has infinite knowledge, right? Infinite knowledge is what a saint has. And it is based on the questioner's disposition, bhava, is according to that, from that infinite repository of knowledge that the saint has, depending on us, that knowledge at that time will get evoked. And that is the answer that we will get. So we're never supposed to go and ask questions to test them. You'll get that kind of answer otherwise, right? Your bhava is going to evoke from their unlimited knowledge a certain response. Now, one time Guruji Swami Tejamayinanda had come to Toronto, And there was a young Balvihar child who used to ask questions just to cause trouble. He didn't care to know the answers, just to try to argue. He used to ask questions. And so I was very new in Toronto at that time. And so all the Balvihar teachers were like, this child, we should take him to Guruji when Guruji comes, and Guruji should answer his questions. So they put this child now in front of Guruji, and this child starts to ask questions. And Guruji starts to answer. And for like 5-10 minutes, this conversation goes on. And then finally, Guruji is like, okay, enough. Now take him. Means Guruji knows he's not asking to understand. He's just asking to argue. He doesn't understand his questions also. So, now if you go, imagine that child had 10 minutes of undisturbed conversation with Guruji. What all he could have asked. But all he was doing was trying to disprove, challenge, show what I know, So, like that, when we ask from their infinite knowledge, we get what is needed for us based on our bhava and our ego and all of that at that time. Okay. Aniha. Aniha means they're actionless. What? Saints do nothing? Well, that's awesome. I want to become a saint. I'm tired of doing. It means they don't do any desire-prompted action. You look at the life of Swami Shivanandaji. Non-stop action, taking care of the sannyasis in the Himalayas. You look at our Puja Gurudev's life. Non-stop action, traveling the globe to share Sanatana Dharma. A true saint feels like they cannot sit without doing what is in their capacity based on their temperament to help society. So they act tremendously, but they don't do meaningless activity. They don't do anything for themselves. And from that point of view, they are considered actionless. They do for others, not for themselves. So they're actionless with respect to their own desire-prompted activities. Mitabhogi. This one is the most difficult, especially if you live in North America. Actually, no, anywhere nowadays. Mitabhogi, measured in food. We had such elaborate discussion on this in chapter 17 just a few weeks ago, right? Mitabhogi, measured in our food. Now, bhogi will not be only in food. Actually, it'll include all enjoyment. And the sentiment is that all joy comes from Bhagavan. How can the joy of Bhagavan compare with any joy you can get from your tongue or from any of your senses? So the saints actually eat like medicine, just to maintain the body. We eat for joy, right? They eat just to sustain their body, to keep experiencing the joy that they already have. In Toronto, there's a cupcake shop, and it has this big sign that says, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy cupcakes, and that's pretty much the same thing. Is it? While you're eating it, you're feeling, oh my God, I shouldn't be eating this. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm eating this. How is that called joy? Even the joy you get, it's tainted joy at that time. Anyways, a real saint is measured in all enjoyment. You will never see a saint overindulging. They will enjoy things that they like. I mean, they have vasanas. You can't help it. Your vasanas will be there as long as your body is there. But they don't ever overindulge. And this is a very easy thing for us to practice, actually. Just refuse. You take some kalpas related to food, and you will develop this quality. You refuse to eat over a certain time. You refuse to eat over a certain amount. You refuse to eat over a certain... You refuse to fill your plate a certain number of times. Like that. Endless things we can do for this, right? You can test, so I've told a few times now how you can test what half belly really looks like and feels like for you. You fill your plate as much as you can and eat until you're stuffed. and then whatever that food was, you divide it into two, and you know from tomorrow that's what I'm supposed to eat. That feeling of half of that is called half belly, and that's what I'm supposed to eat. Like that. Anyways, Mita Bhogi, you. Nowadays, I think more than food is also screen time. Hare Rama. Doom scrolling and all kind of things are such a big problem. And binge watching, and can you imagine your grandparents binge watching or doom scrolling? Or staying up late because they're like enjoying this show too much so they can't wake up on time tomorrow? It unfathomable to imagine the previous generation doing that. Unfathomable to imagine them overeating. How is it that in one generation so much has changed? It mind-blowing actually to see how much has changed in our generation. I can't imagine my parents waking up at 8 o'clock. What? In my generation, if someone wakes up at 8 o'clock, you're like, oh, you had something to do? No, really, how things have changed. But Mita Bhogi, our ancestors lived like that. Our great grandparents, our parents. It's not impossible. That's my point. Okay. Satyasara. Satyasara means they look for the essence of truth in everything. When they're going through any experience, they're thinking, what is the cause? What is the truth? What is the purpose? Like that. Always cause hunting for the truth. Or you can say they're centered in truth. Either definition will be fine. They're established in reality. Then, Kabi Kobida. They're all knowing. Kabi Kobid literally means poets sometimes, but it also means wise. Actually, their wisdom is like poetry in glorification of Bhagavan, if you think about it like that. Their wisdom is a song of Bhagavan's glory. How else are they wise? But anyways, they have clarity and knowledge. That's one meaning of Kavi Kovid. Right? Very great clarity they have. Jogi. Jogi means one whose mind is absorbed in Bhagavan, who is well united with Bhagavan. A really good example is a teenager who has made a best friend, or a young professional who has just fallen in love and they can't think of anybody else. Whatever they are doing, their mind is right there. Or a mom whose baby is sleeping. Not a big baby, a tiny little baby. A mom who has a tiny little baby and that baby is sleeping. The mom could be doing anything, but the mind of the mother does not leave the sleeping baby. Like that. A yogi is one whose mind is so united with Bhagavan. It's so absorbed in Bhagavan that no matter what they're doing, they don't lose the thought of Bhagavan. When you might say, well, how can you have two thoughts at the same time? Am I supposed to focus on my work, keep my hands where my mind where my hands are, or am I supposed to think about Bhagavan all the time? You tell me, when you're acting and you're doing anything, you forget who you are? You forget you're hungry? You forget that, things. We have multiple thoughts at the same time, right? So, it's very possible to have a thought of Bhagavan while we're doing other things. Okay. Savadhana. They are alert. Alert means really vigilant. Alert. There's so many times we've told these stories. The saint who sees the scorpion drowning in the river and then he goes to save it. How will you see a scorpion drowning if you're not alert and you're just minding your own business? Not saying you shouldn't mind your own business. I'm saying they're so alert about all the things going on around them that they can hear things and perceive things that we can't perceive. One day we were in the mountains in Tapovan here in Trinidad, and all of us laughing, joking, whatever, conversations going on. And Swamiji said, it sounds like, and the jeeps in the ashram all have names. They've all got names. And so he was like, it sounds like Blackie is coming. This is dark night, right? He was like, it sounds like this Jeep is coming here. He was right. They weren't supposed to come, but someone ended up coming. And from like, they were a good 20-30 minutes away. And we were doing something totally different. We were engaged in full conversation. But that alertness, that vigilance, that awareness of so many things going on at the same time, they never lose that awareness. They have acute perception, the saints. Manada. Manada, the saint is one who gives honor to all. They give honor, respect to everybody, no matter who they are. Have you seen, I don't know if you've had the fortune of seeing our Puja Guruji with a child. When a family goes and they have a child, and they go and meet Puja Guruji, Guruji has a special cupboard in his where he stays, right? And that cupboard has gifts for children. And when a child comes, one of the sevaks that's there, their responsibility is to go into the cupboard and find a gift that is suitable for the child based on their age and gender. And they'll bring it and put it in a bag and everything and give it to Guruji. And Guruji will put the t-shirt on them or give them the puzzle in their hand. Or it's so sweet. He makes them feel like they're the most important person in the universe at that time. They're a child who may not even remember that they met him. The honor and the respect that saints give no matter who a person is. Madahina, free from arrogance, devoid of arrogance, and so they're filled with humility. They give respect to others, but they don't want anything in return. Some people, they give respect to others because they want to be respected too. And you're like, well, if I respect them, they'll respect me, People think like that. They think like that like anything. But the saint has no ulterior motive. They have no arrogance. They have nothing that they want. They have no desire for their ego to be boosted in any way, shape, or form. Dhira. Dhira is, they have fortitude. Fortitude meaning once they have taken up a sankalpa, once they have decided to do something, no matter how difficult things become, they don't stop. They don't let go. They don't drop it. They don't let go of their goal, no matter how much the vagaries of samsara are that come to try to stop them. This is most exemplified in our Swami Tapovanam's life. The descriptions of his journey to the Himalayas from Rishikesh on foot, barefoot, with no food, no clothes, getting sick, getting so sick that he felt multiple times, he writes that it's like he escaped the jaws of death because of some good karma. But he never gave up his sadhana, his tapas, his vrata, his goal. He didn't give it up. One little thing happens and we're like, you know what? It's a sign that I shouldn't be doing this. It's a sign that I should turn back. It's a sign that I should start tomorrow. It took a vrata not to eat chocolate, but Swamiji gave chocolate for prasad today. It's a sign I should start tomorrow. It's prasad. I can't say no to Swamiji's prasad. This is us. Dharma gati parama prabina. When it comes to the understanding or steadfastness of dharma, they are most wise. In Mahabharata, there is a phrase that comes where it explains a verse that comes that says, dharma is very difficult to understand. So the best thing to do is to just do what the wise people do. If you can't figure out what dharma is, just do what the wise people do, because they understand its subtleties. Whatever they do becomes dharma. Whatever they think becomes dharma. Their thoughts are so in line with goodness that once a saint says something is good for you, you can do it without thinking. Once you have ascertained that they are a true saint, and you realize this is a true saint, you can rest assured whatever they say is the best thing for you, not only for you, it's the best thing for you, for your family, for the society, for everybody around you. Even if people may not understand, may not get it, may disagree, but once a saint says, they're saying it for your benefit and the benefit of every single other person. This much shraddha we should have in how they're clear about dharma. The other thing I wanted to mention while this topic is here is that the pramana for dharma is shastra. Pramana means authoritative source of knowledge. You know, the authoritative source of knowledge of sight is our eyes. Meaning, you cannot, when you want to guess, when you want to know the color of something, the only way to be sure of its color is with your eyes. You cannot hold a Smartie or an M&M by your ear and shake it and be like, it sounds yellow. What does yellow sound like? It feels green. Color doesn't have a touch, it doesn't have sound, it doesn't have smell. The only pramana for color is our eyes. Meaning, if you want to be sure of something, I mean, you can taste it and be like, it tastes pink. You can guess like that, but the authority is going to be, finally, our eyes. And so, the authoritative means of knowledge, in the same way, when it comes, this is called pramana. And pramana is a very, very important thing in our tradition to understand. What is the authoritative source of knowledge for things we get in the world? And the pramana for dharma, for what is right and what is wrong, is very, very clearly told. It is shastra. Meaning, just like we're not going to use our eyes to ascertain taste, and we're not going to use our ears to ascertain color, we cannot use anything in society or in science to ascertain dharma. The only thing that can tell us whether something is dharmic or not is the pramana for dharma. And the pramana for dharma is shastra. Society knows what's good for you? See, right now we listen to society. Does society know what is good for you? Well, if the answer was yes, everybody should be permanently happy. What are we looking for every single day of every single lifetime of all our multiple infinite lifetimes? Happiness. Looking for so long, following society's injunctions, should we not have found it by now? I mean, we should have. If it exists, we know it exists. So, society cannot tell us what is good for us. Well, society said marijuana is legal now. Marijuana is good for you? Society said drinking is legal if you're 21 and up in certain countries, 18 and up in other countries. It means it's good for you when you're 21? So, society doesn't, things that are legal or things that are said to be good for you, it is good to drink socially. You've heard that statement? I've heard that statement countless times. Good to drink socially. Society has absolutely no clue about what our dharma should and should not be. The pramana for dharma is shastra. And because we haven't studied shastra fully, and Bhagavan here is saying that saints are parama pravina, extremely clear about dharma. By this, by extension, because of their clarity about shastra, saints also become our pramana for dharma. Saints also become our authority for what is dharma, what is adharma, what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, like that. Then in the Doha he says, Gunagara samsara dukha rahita bigata sandeha taji mama charana saroja priya tina kahu deha nageha. He says, well, they're gunagara. They are the house of all gunas. All gunas, all virtues. A saint is the house of all virtues. And you see these qualities manifesting. You read the lives of saints and you will see what the depth of this statement is. Saints are ridiculed and humiliated and looked down on and insulted and all kinds of things. And they never lose their saintliness in all of that ridicule and despicability of the universe does not take away their saintliness. It makes it shine more, right? Every single virtue that we know exists in saints. And so when we want to see what they look like, we just look to saints. Huh? They're a living, walking Shastra for us. Okay, then he says, Samsara dukha rahita. They are free from the sorrow of samsara. Samsara means samyak sarati, that which is changing very well. The thing that we don't like in our life is change. We don't like change at all. You might say, no, I like it when certain things change. Right? But that thing will always change. It remains as you like it for a moment. And the principle with change is that which we want to change, it changes very slowly. And that which we don't want to change, it changes very fast. That is samsara. Everything will change. And the way it changes is also causing problem for us. Right? But the other way to talk about the sorrow of samsara is how Bhagavan talked about it in Bhagavad Gita. Shoka moha was Arjuna's problem. Shoka moha is sorrow and delusion. That is our problem, right? It expresses as selfishness, it expresses as fear, it expresses as incapacity, but a saint has none of that because they have purity of mind and clarity of thinking. And because of that, samsara can't do anything to them. They're mature so they can see its fickleness. One parent came to me one time and she said her child would have been maybe 5 or 6 at the time. And she came and said, crying, she came to me like almost in tears. And she said that, my daughter said she's not going to take dal and rice to school anymore. She came home crying today and she said she's not going to take dal and rice to school anymore. And her mom said, she asked her why. And she said, because my friends, the children in school said my food smells like pee. True story. Huh? This happened in Toronto some years ago. Now you just imagine this statement being told to a cool teenager. A cool teenager who likes dal and rice takes it to school. And someone says to him, your food smells like pee. What will his response be? You want some? It's not going to bother him the way it bothers the 5 or 6-year-old, because he has developed a certain maturity to deal with the ridiculousness that is going to come to him in the world. In the same way, the ridiculousness that samsara is going to bring, that it brings to our life that affects us so much, it doesn't affect a saint because of the kind of maturity of vision that they have developed. This is the greatness of a saint. Bigata sandeha. They are free from doubts. Free from doubts about dharma, free from doubts about God, free from doubts about bhakti, free from doubts about Bhagavan, free from doubts about life, our purpose, because it's their personal experience. Once you've drank tea, a cup of tea that is in front of you, can you doubt if there is sugar in it or not? If you're a person who, whose spoon has to stand in the tea before you think there's enough sugar, then maybe you can drink a sip and be like, I'm not sure if there's sugar. Or like if you live in an ashram where there's saltless day every once a week or something, and you eat the food. Once you've eaten it, you can be sure whether there's salt or not, isn't it? You have to eat food without salt to really know what salt tastes like. So there's no doubt because it's your personal experience. In the same way, they're free from doubts because it is their personal experience. And then Bhagavan says, Taji mamachara nasaroja priya tina kahu deha nageha. Apart from my lotus feet, there is nothing that is dear or loving for them. Not even their body, not even their home. So a saint doesn't consider anything as loving or as dear to them as Bhagavan. Not body, not home. We experience a parallel of this actually in our own superficial phenomenon, right? You see, a child has a toy car, like a teenager has a toy car. And then as he grows up, that gets replaced with a real car. Is the joy of the real car any comparison to the toy car? Or a child has a toy phone, and then now their parent decides to give them a real phone. Any comparison? That toy phone is dropped in a second. In the same way, when a saint tastes the joy of loving for Bhagavan, then nothing else compares. What is the joy of anything? And Bhagavan specifically uses the example of body and home here because those are our two strongest attachments. The jiva does not want to leave this body. See, test of that. If Bhagavan says right now, right this moment, right, I will take you to Swarga. 100 times enjoyment of everything. Whatever your favorite food is, it's going to taste 100 times more delicious there. Whatever joy you get from watching TV, you're going to get 100 times more joy there. Whatever joy you get from whatever your favorite thing is, from listening to music, 100 times that joy. You want it? Well, yes, of course, Bhagavan. Who doesn't want that? But you have to leave your body here and get a different body. Oh, wait. Pause. Let me think about it. I'm not sure anymore. 100 times more joy, but I'm not sure if I want it because my attachment to my body is greater than my desire for 100 times of joy. Attachment to body and home is a really, really strong thing. But Bhagavan says, apart from loving the feet of Bhagavan, there's nothing dear to them. Or the other way of saying it is, without love for the feet of Bhagavan, nothing is dear to them. Once they have love for Bhagavan's feet, everything is dear. And if they don't have that, nothing is dear. See this example. If there is a child that when you take a child to Disneyland or any kind of amusement park, the child is like, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to go this, I want to buy this Mickey Mouse shaped ice cream even though it's $10, and the parents like, no, that's crazy, and this whole thing is going on, right? And the child wants to go and see this and do this and eat this and taste that and go on that ride and see this person and excited about everything. Now imagine they get separated from their mom. They can't see their mom. Suddenly they look around and in the crowd of people, their mom is gone. Either it's a prank or it's real, really happened or whatever, right? Now you tell me, at that moment, if someone comes and says, hey, I heard that you wanted a Mickey Mouse ice cream and your mom wasn't giving it to you, here you go. They want that ice cream at that time? At that time, the ice cream that 5 minutes ago they so badly wanted, they can't even imagine having it. Nothing is dear except for them wanting to find their mom. It's the exact same thing for a saint. Without love for Bhagavan's feet, the world feels empty to them. And with love for Bhagavan, well, everything feels right. This is a saint. Now, I thought I would finish this kanda today. But I just looked at the time, and instead of the kanda finishing, time finished. So we'll have to pause here, and we will have to finish this kanda next week. That is why we're not supposed to make plans in life, because they never work. When I planned on finishing this kanda, you don't want to know. One day I was counting and I was like, okay, this many weeks, so by this month we'll be done. And then so many things changed. We got posted to Guyana and all of that, and everything paused. And anyways, yeah, no plans. Maybe we'll finish next week. Let's see what happens. That's the way to approach it now, right? So here we are in the middle of these wonderful qualities of saints. They're the kind of qualities that we have to go on and on and on thinking, right? So you choose a few, at least one, that you want to try to embody, and try your best and see if you can bring it more and more and more into your life. Right? Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll do closing prayer, and then I'll open if anyone wants to share any reflections from today's class or ask any questions. Okay? Really nice to be back in class with all of you here. I missed Ramayana so much. And you guys too. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Oh, I forgot to announce. If you know anybody in Guyana, please tell them to come and eat some delicious dosas at our ashram this Saturday. Saturday is dosa day in Guyana. Paneer dosa, masala dosa, plain dosa, and chai. And it's fundraising for the ashram. So please do come, or send those who you know for dosa. We can't send it virtually, unfortunately. But one day come and have dosa in our ashram in Guyana. Food tastes different in Guyana. More delicious. And tomorrow Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 Satsang will be there with Devji. If anyone wants to join, you're welcome to. Okay, alright, Hari Om. I'll open up now if anyone wants to say or ask anything at all.